What?
And I heard about this on Saturday night because I have one of my friends is a technical emergency. So we heard all about how tremendous stuff. And then we could work in that night show. And I was away. So and I already know absolutely. And that's what he said. And we'll catch up. And I have containers to bring them to you. So. I got paranoia, whatever. Good eggs. They've got good food. Non-GMO. I don't know. Maybe he just told me that. Yes. And they run into problems. So it's a good thing that the two that recently, I know, not super recent, like probably a year or two.
Hey,
He didn't say names. He just said.
I'm looking at you. I couldn't recognize you from the back of your head. How you doing?
Well,
Sure.
this is Russ.
Nice.
Well, that's a problem.
Oh, okay. I heard you were coming.
I'm sorry.
Up that way though? Good to see you.
That might be like pump schedule. I didn't get it out.
It's up county, yeah. It's a little crazy up county.
So.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, I stopped by yesterday. So you met with the chief of the road? I remember when I used to live on West Avenue. Maybe they participate. They ran this much. Water stations and the kids and the cleanup crew came by the truck.
I don't remember sending an email, so if I sent one, it was a while ago. I wasn't going
Welcome to the Borough Council meeting. It's Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. I learned an interesting fact today that St. Patrick's Day was actually a dry holiday. It wasn't until 1990, it was until the 1990s that they introduced liquor, and the reason, listen, the peanut gallery. But it was until the 90s. So it was until the 90s that they introduced alcohol, and that was a way of increasing tourism and business. So that was my interesting fact for the day. So if we could just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Virginia, roll call.
Present.
Here.
Present. Here. Here.
Present.
Here.
Scott Holbert on behalf of Flagrant Associates.
Okay, just some quick announcements. The Easter egg hunt is April 4th at 10:30 at Patriots Park in Summerseat. It's a full agenda, and we've been the CAC members have been working with Summerseat in order to introduce Summerseat to the kids and have the Easter egg hunt at the same time. I know they've been doing a really great job, so I commend the CAC, and please pass it along, April 4th at 10:30. The Morrisville Little League Opening Day Parade is Saturday, April 11th at 10 a.m. It too is starting at Summerseat, and they kind of meet at the corner of Clymer Avenue and, the end of Summerseat. It's always a nice thing, so if anyone wants to go, again, at the Little League Opening Day Parade, Saturday, April 11th. We have Barry Isett here, so did you want to speak?
Sure.
Okay, welcome. This is Mike Italia, who is the head honcho of Barry Isett. Welcome, Mr. Italia.
All right, so yes, my name is Mike Italia. I'm the regional manager for Barry Isett and Associates. So we're your third-party code consultant, fire marshal, jack of all trades, pretty much helping out everybody here. So thanks for having me. I just wanted to come talk a little bit about the rental program and some successes from 2025. So basically, we started from scratch with it last year, and so far we have identified 349 parcels in Morrisville that are rentals. That's not units, that's just parcels. Rental inspections that were completed, including the large complexes, which we're still working through, was 467 units. Okay, quite a bit, right? A lot of undertaking, a lot of problems found, but a lot of good things found. So it kind of went both directions. We identified 1,519 parcels as non-rentals within the town. So thanks for the residents that responded to the survey that went out. We appreciate that. So we'll be doing some follow-up with that. Just some highlights of some of the things that we ran into besides rental units with no running water. No heat, which is very unfortunate. Somebody's paying rent to a landlord with no heat. We went into a rental during the cold snap and found it was being heated by an oven and portable heaters because the heater was not functioning. So when we do these inspections, we're not only advocating on behalf of the tenant, but we're also advocating on behalf of the landlords, because a lot of times the landlords don't know what's going on. The tenants don't let them in. They don't call. They may be absentee landlords. They may live in New York or New Jersey or, somewhere not in town. So when we make them aware of it, usually we get a pretty favorable response and they correct the items. So those are some of the things. We had a couple fatalities over the last couple of years in rental units. That's not just isolated to rentals, but of concern was the one fatality that we did have was hoarding conditions. Landlord hadn't been in there in 20 plus years. The fellow lived there and just was kind of, he was by himself, didn't have a next of kin, and ended up, we had to go in there and it was a total empty out everything. So we found stairs not attached to structures. One of our inspectors fell into a basement. Just imagine if that building was on fire at 2:30 in the morning and the firefighters had to go down those steps and be met with that. Thank God we found it during the day. We found illegal apartments, things that were just magically added over the years. Kind of like gremlin being fed at midnight and multiplies by itself. Well, that seemed to be what was happening in some places where they were illegally adding apartments. We found apartments in basements of restaurants. So we're finding basically crash pads kind of here and there and everywhere, but we're getting them cleaned up. I would say the majority of the tenants and the landlords have been fantastic to work with. It's a mutual ground, like we'll work with them, especially if there's a laundry list of violations and things that need to get corrected. Things aren't fixed overnight, right? So we make sure we give them ample time to get things corrected. We work with them, to get them on the path to success. They also may have to go through an eviction process. They may find somebody that's been in there for so long that, may not pay rent anymore or whatever is going on. So we try to make sure the building's safe going forward from there. So there's been a lot. The staff's working hard, borough staff and my staff working as a team to get everybody moving forward, which has been refreshing. That's not always the case in the towns that we service. Our firm in the Southeast inspects just a little over 10,000 rental units in Southeast Pennsylvania, anywhere from here all the way out to Phoenixville. So, we're pretty diverse with that. We've updated checklists, updated some ordinances, cleaned some things up. So I think we're moving in the right direction, and we appreciate the support of everybody in town and council. So I just wanted to stop by and say hello and give you a little update.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have one quick thing, something that's been going around that you obviously are aware of. We've discussed the case out of Pottstown.
Very well.
We're not operating, you're not operating the same way that Pottstown was, where they're basically forcing themselves into apartments, correct?
Correct. We actually were consulting with Pottstown and telling them not to do that, and you can see how that went. So if we get a denial of entry is what we call, we just document it. If we have what's called probable cause, where there's a reasonable suspicion to get a warrant to make entry, but nobody's pushing themselves into an apartment unit or any rental for that fact. It is your house. Like, you have constitutional rights. If we suspect that there's issues, or if the police notify us or the fire department or the ambulance saying, hey, this place is a mess, there's fire hazards, then we will have to take the appropriate measures to make entry.
No question, but I just want to thank you for what you're doing. It seems like, code is now being enforced in Morrisville, which is the right thing to do. We just have to continue to, hold people to the standards that we set and the ordinance that we have in there. Again, thank you to Larry for always taking my texts either late at night or early in the morning or throughout the day. So, but I appreciate what you're doing. You can definitely see a difference in Morrisville. So
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're definitely trying. Hopefully we don't have to deal with any more snow issues. So that's knock on wood.
So are the residents that you have inspected, when you come and you find that they don't have any heat, are they happy that you have now fixed their problems?
I think it's a sigh of relief, but it can go both ways, because they may have a tenant that says, oh, the landlord locks the heat. Like in another town, we have a landlord that literally locks the heat out. You could turn it to 100. It's still going to be 60 degrees in there. As long as that's not going on, it seems to go well, because the landlord is either usually not aware that there's an issue, so we rectify it. But we haven't had any experiences where people are like getting evicted or, anything like that because of it.
Anyone on council, any questions?
I actually have a question. I don't know if you can answer it, but the issues with the heat, like you said, are there local owners or they're outside of the state owners?
I don't know off the top of my head. Larry was dealing with the last one.
Some of them are local and some of them are complexes as well. It's just a mechanical issue that has to be taken care of, and they did rectify it, but it took a little while to get it rectified. I just had another unit that.
Could you come up and talk to the mic? It was awful cold winter for this to have happened to them.
So I just had a unit this week that apparently had no heat on and off for 2 years. And also had plumbing issues on and off for almost a year. So we got his plumbing, he got his heat fixed eventually, but we got his plumbing fixed this week. And, you know, it's crazy that things like this don't get fixed. And it takes to almost take them to court to get it fixed. But if they speak up, we go out and hopefully get it rectified as soon as possible.
I'd like to spend your time worth advocating for residents to take advantage of, I believe, Citizen Reporter, correct? If you have these issues, if you see these problems, make those reports. It's the only way it's going to get fixed. It's the only way to get guys like you guys out there to look at these problems. Hopefully it's not under bad circumstances, but if it's not going to be addressed, it needs to be reported.
Yeah, at least if it's, you know, put in the trailer, we see it. We can't see everything if, you know, it's here or there.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
He wanted to say it, but.
I'll say,
Lord.
social media does not help.
But yeah, put it in the computer, and you know that's where we see it every day, so we can address it from there.
Just verify that once it goes into Tracer, the person putting it in, it's confidential.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of residents do not want to use Tracer because in the past, their names were given out. So I just want to say with the new company, with Barry Isett, you do not.
Yeah, that is not a practice that we.
Yeah, you can put it in as, you know, confidential, but you need some kind of contact information though. Otherwise, we don't know who to contact. Either an email or a phone number or something.
I have a question. If you're entering a bad house, do you wear hazmat suits? No, really.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did have to go into a house that was required for me, police chief.
Not here.
Yeah, not here. You know, borough personnel to go in with hazmat suits. It was that bad.
Okay. Yeah, because you have to be protected. That's what I was asking. Okay.
I've only had one or two in here that I've been in, but it wasn't that bad.
Little Vicks vapor rub goes a long way.
But even those houses have been taken care of. So, but it was another situation where the landlord was unaware of how bad it was. So it took a fire call to get us into the building and get it rectified.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on that. The cooperation with the public safety agencies, the police, the fire department, and the EMS have been great. We also work on behalf of children and youth. So when they get a call on Childline for like kids living in a, you know, kind of less than best area, you know, we'll follow up with that. And we're one of their inspectors and we do the whole county for them. So.
I have a question. The house that you were talking about where the person didn't have water or heat, had they been trying to reach their landlord to tell them? It was your action, it was the landlord, I'm sorry, was the landlord being non-responsive to the tenant?
Yes.
And so, but when you were able to, did the tenant have any other option?
I actually have two cases right now. One was rectified. The other one has been unresponsive.
What?
The landlord has been unresponsive. So that'll be another court case.
Yeah.
Hopefully responsive.
With the case that's non-responsive, are you able to assist or help the tenants somehow rectify the issues, or is that has to go right through the landlord?
So it goes through the landlord. If we don't get any response from them, there are some county groups that can help out and some local, like church-based groups can kind of pitch in. But the county health department has their own type of program that they run through and kind of gives us a hand. Doesn't have a lot of teeth, but it's helpful from a documentation standpoint when we end up at court with Scott and his gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can find them if they're not providing. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's a property maintenance violation if you don't maintain heat and running water. And the MMA too. You know, the municipal authority has been great. Anything we need, like to get contact information or having trouble finding. Now, I think the one landlord that passed away, we had no idea. So like, there's those type of things that we have to do some research and find the next of kin. Basically look at the obituary and see who they're related to and go find people. So we've had a couple of those instances.
Anybody else on the rental inspection? I have another question off of rental inspections.
Sure.
Facebook, and I know I shouldn't be reading it, but there's an awful lot of commentary about rats, especially down on Althea, and I know because it's cold.
Yes.
But so the premise is that it's coming from Britain Industries because they're clearing out the trees. Is that true? And what can residents do about the rats? Because it's also around the Bridge Street area, et cetera.
I mean, it could be anywhere where there's a lot of deadfall and overbrush and things like that. They tend to habitate there. We use vector control. That's from the Bucks County Health Department as well. We just need to know, we need some pictures. So we have to basically provide some evidence that it's not a field mouse or a squirrel. Like, we're looking for a rat. They usually stand out pretty good. Some are healthier than others, but we need some documentation that we can go to the county, because the county is spending resources coming down here, and they do a whole thing. So they have vector control. That's what our county tax dollars go towards, and we kick it to them for enforcement until they find the source. So when they find the source, which is not always a neighbor, it might just be, you know, something going on where they're living, you know, and then we'll go after it from there.
What should a resident do? Put it in Tracer or?
Yeah, let us know so we can start a conversation and upload pictures into there, and then we'll get the vector control sent up to the county.
Have you found that we have a rat problem in town?
No, except we had a few bordering the golf area.
Okay.
It's a lot of deadfall there, a lot of trees, a lot of overbrush. So they do habitate in those areas.
Okay.
So I don't know how healthy your fox population is down here. Usually that rectifies the rat issue. So
it's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Years ago, I don't know.
There's a beautiful fox on Barclay. He
So
barks
usually
every morning.
it takes care of a lot of problems. So, but we send it to the county.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for code?
Yeah. So grass is going to start growing soon. Please cut your grass. All right. So we'll get ahead of that right now before any issues start sprouting up. So. No, not at all. But thank you again for having us, and we really enjoy helping you guys out here in Morrisville. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
Good seeing everybody.
The next topic is going to be the summer seat. I think everybody got into their delivery the email from summer seat, and I'm going to open the floor to discussion. Or lack of, if no one has anything to say.
I read that the stipulation when we motion to approve these summer seat plans is that the borough won't co-sponsor it. And we won't be alive for the next 250-year celebration, and it's national, it's historic. I would like to see us co-sponsor and do everything we can to support all these wonderful efforts of Summer Seat to really make this a special event for Morrisville. And we already pay insurance for our parks. So why do we charge insurance for Summer Seat for this event if we already have insurance on our parks?
Yeah, so the insurance for your parks that you have is like property liability insurance. You know, people trip and fall, things like that. For what you're looking for with the events is event insurance is more just general liability, accidents involving people, things like that, not stuff that's related to your falls on parks. So there's other things that can happen that can create liability than with an event than the general parks property liability insurance would cover.
Another question. And then it also distinguishes between a waiver and insurance. What is the waiver versus the insurance?
And anytime anybody is doing anything on our land, the borough requests that they sign a waiver saying that the borough is not held liable.
So Summerseat would sign the waiver.
Right. That's that type of waiver. Okay. So yeah, indemnification, meaning that if, something were to happen to the borough, something would happen on the property, the person holding the event can't come after the borough and they're responsible to us then.
And that's separate from insurance.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And the insurance that the borough buys is not sufficient to cover
Yes.
the insurance.
Because there's other things, your normal day of property liability insurance, there's other general liability activities that happens with special events that they wouldn't be covered then.
And if we agree to co-sponsor, does that mean we would pay for the insurance? We would not charge them for insurance?
That would be a decision that you would have to make yourselves.
But is that what
That's one of the things you could do, yes.
Okay. I would just like to do that for Summerseat.
Can I ask a question to clarify about the insurance? So you're saying that if we co-sponsored it, the borough would have to pay extra insurance for their use of it?
It could be potentially, yes, we could, yes.
I believe that that's been checked before and they found that there was no additional insurance. So that's why can we check on that to make sure that that is the case?
I do not get involved with your insurance policies, but I'm sure the borough.
Yeah, I'm just asking, perhaps Mr. Dillon could find out. The previous borough manager had supposedly checked and said there was no additional charge. So that's what I'd just like to find out. What if our insurance company, what would they charge us if we co-sponsored?
Okay, basically, Summerseat has an insurance policy. The borough would ask that they would name the borough as additionally co-insured and vice versa. So, so both policies would be covering one another. Additional insurance, I don't see that as a significant issue, but we'll check with the insurance company.
Probably be something very simple to provide the insurance that's really within the borough's means to do. I agree with Peggy. I'd really like to see us support all of the Summerseat 250 events as heartily as we can.
This is the 250th birthday of America. I think we can chip in and help celebrate this. What are we doing? We have to embrace the town events. And all we seem to be doing is putting up roadblocks and preventing community activities to take place. What's the matter on this council? Why can't we work with our community to help them achieve their goals? What is wrong with that?
Well, first, they came to us last month. We put a budget together. They didn't come to us and say that they were planning to ask the borough for this. Where is this money going to come from? And why are they not doing fundraising in order to do these events? And the borough is its own entity. They're not in the business to be running events.
Well, I'm not asking for the borough to run the event. I'm talking about co-sponsoring and meet them halfway.
Did you not read all the delivery and all the asks?
Yes, I did. But still, they are doing all the work. And I think because it's the 250th anniversary, don't you think we should be working together? This is a celebration that comes once in a lifetime. We're not going to be here for the next one. Let's just work together.
If you recall, if you also recall, and I'm not trying to be the bad guy here, although you guys will make me the bad guy. We did come to them. Mr. Dillon came to them, and were you there with us, Scott? No. And we asked them to be partners with the borough in order to do things like this, and they turned us down. They said no. They didn't want the borough's help. They didn't want the borough to be involved in their issues. So I'm not sure why all of a sudden the borough is the bad guy when they have told us they don't want us involved, except for now that they need money, they want the money from the borough.
But they're not asking for every single event that they are sponsoring. This is 250th birthday. Can we put all of that aside and just celebrate this moment? Like, let's just do something for Morrisville.
Are you willing to do that for anybody else? As much as you.
All right, we're not in public comment right now. I'm sorry, you could speak at public comment.
What is that?
Anybody else have anything to say?
Yes, I do. I think what we're asking is, I'm not sure what exactly, we don't know exactly what you offered to Summerseat in terms of doing whatever cooperation you were asking for. I'm not quite sure exactly what you asked and that they turned down. That would be helpful for us to understand. But when we're looking at what they're asking here, they're asking just for collaboration to put on some good 2 foot for D events. Co-insurance, co-sponsoring would be part of that. We could help them. We could cover the insurance. We know it's not going to cost very much. There is no fee to use Patriots Park. The only other thing that's really outstanding, I mean, they're asking for our individuals' help as we can, any of us could provide. I think that's a good thing. That doesn't cost us any money. The only other thing that's out costing any money is talking about porta potties, which we can get into about what does porta potties cost? Can the borough get a better deal on porta potties than an individual for a few-day event? The answer is yes. I know this now. We could, so for Patriots Park porta potties, we could do that for a couple of events. It's not that outlandish. It's worth it for us to invest a few $100s for a porta potty for a 250 event. Summerseat is allowing the egg hunt to use their bathroom free. Couldn't we return the favor to them? Yes, they are. They're allowing them to use the bathroom, the entire event in April. Couldn't we return the favor and give them a bathroom? Because that bathroom is downstairs, it's old, it's difficult. So why not help them out? Let's do some collaborative efforts.
Okay, so this is what I have to say, and I hope my diction works here. They said they didn't want to be involved. They were not projecting forward that someday they may need us. So they're asking for our help now. Did you see all the things that they were asking? First of all, there isn't enough room, not to mention the parking. The event itself is impossible. The request that they had, a bouncy house, what do you call it, venue for food, that went on and on and on. We were laughing about it. Like, who, and tell me how many people in Morrisville, let's take a vote. Like, how many people in Morrisville really want to go? I have way too much on my plate. I don't care when it is. I don't even know when it is, and I'm too busy. But also I'm saying is they had their opportunity when they said way back when, we don't want council involved or whatever. It's their bad that they didn't project into today or whenever this event is.
So we're doing tit for tat? Are we doing tit for tat? Is that what it is? Let's just.
What part of no don't you understand?
What part of helping and, well, why don't we be the bigger people?
I don't have the time or the.
Well, you don't have, you're the council person. You should have the time for your constituents because those are the people who elected you.
I understand that there's obviously, we asked for some details to find out what previously they had rejected help on. And I understand that might be something involving with grants, property things, longer involved projects. I understand that. That's something, again, hopefully, we can have a discussion, find out what those rejections were. I guess the question really is, yes, I understand there's a little bit of uncertainty with that, but we're talking about individual, just separate events for a specific anniversary, not a yearly routine thing, not, hey, help us pay for this type of upkeep or anything like that. I know that's where there seems to be some disconnect and agreement on whether they want help or not. I think this is just specifically looking at these events for this particular year, this particular event. For other future types of needs and endeavors, if they do come to us that relates to the property, then yes, that would obviously be a discussion on whether from that previous discussion of theirs, if that's something we would want to be involved with when they did not want borough help. I think we're just looking only at these specific things for a one-off event. I understand, Marie, if it was like a yearly upkeep thing, yeah.
I have to say,
Yeah.
let's go measure, and you take that list with you, and you tell me how it's, and we even talked about encampments. You tell me how we're going to do all that in that space. You tell me how many people may have to drive, where they're going to park. You would expect everybody in Morrisville to walk there? I mean, there was probable, and then there's the impossible, and this looks to me to be the impossible. And I'm not going to have a discussion up here back and forth about this, because I'm not the president. I don't know where to take this, but I'm just letting you know how I feel and how I see things. I read that, and it is what I call near impossible. That's all I have to say.
And just for the public, they also asked that the borough staff be used in order to fulfill some of these things. I don't believe that the borough staff should be used for a private organization. They also asked to do a 3-day encampment, which I'm assuming is spending the night for 3 straight days. And the police will be involved in that, and we don't have a problem with that. I believe that on the agenda we are voting on the encampment. So it's not that the borough is not helping them or participating. It's that I don't believe that a lot of the borough funds should be used to fund some of these things.
Well, are they asking us to fund the bouncy house? I thought they were just telling us what they plan to do and what they would like to do. I did not read anything in the proposal that asked the borough to pay for these things. They did ask for volunteers, and so if people want to volunteer, that would be fine and good. My only request is that we co-sponsor and chip in the insurance. I don't think that they've asked us to pay for anything else unless I misread their proposal.
So just so everyone knows, Summer Seat did send a letter in on some requests for events for the 250th. That's what everyone is talking about up here. Sorry. I am for supporting this. I think it's the 250th for the country. But I do also think that Summer Seat then needs to go back and plan. So some of these ask in here are for like a planning committee that they need to put together for themselves and come back to us with actual ask. If we need to do the rider for the insurance, so be it, right? I think we'll be willing to work with them, but I think some of these asks are more for us to help plan their event because they're looking for, food vendors and different things, some suggestions. So maybe gather up a group that would be able to help them plan it better. But I'm all for partnering with it. It's a great time for our country. There's going to be so much going on, and it can bring people to Morrisville.
Would you say then, Mr. Mayor, probably a good idea here then would be looking at the events, approving for them to do them, and then asking them to resubmit a proposal for co-sponsorship with specific details then, perhaps what they would like. Because again, I understand from Marie's thing, I wasn't expecting, we're going to pay for all these different individual small things. I was thinking what's our standard co-sponsoring with these type of events. So if it is asking for something that involved, I totally understand where Marie's coming from with that. Maybe that's just not what I took as it, but would you suggest then if we approve this, can they rewrite a proposal for co-sponsorship with those details, and we can apply that at a next meeting if those are reasonable requirements? Or, Ms. President, if you would know.
That's what they do, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that option would be on the table.
Based on what they wrote, it seemed like what the mayor said, that they were looking to the borough and the borough staff and the borough council to plan their event. They wanted us to provide the recommendations of food trucks. Virginia, I don't remember everything else. I don't have it in front of me, but there was a lot.
It's like pop-up tents and
Pop-up tents and, so.
I know they asked for street closures for the wagon.
That's
parade.
easy, right?
That we have on.
Yeah. And
It's not that we're against it. It's just that some of the financial burden shouldn't be pushed onto the borough.
And to Anna's point too, we're not going to for chat. And I think we all need to come together, and hopefully Summer Seat understands and sees this partnership that we can continue to grow on. And let's have the 250th pave that way for us.
Yeah, so Virginia, could you make a note to find out how much it would cost to do the insurance? Do you have that number? Oh, okay. Okay, so, I know, I was going to say, wow. Okay, so we will share that with all the council, and then we will adjust accordingly.
How many events, what the events are, like exactly, I don't think it's a blanket per event.
Well, the encampment will be expensive, because that's sleeping overnight.
Would that be on, I wasn't sure for the encampment. Is that on specifically Summer Seat, or were they asking for the park part for that as well?
Patriot Park for that.
They wanted that for Patriot, okay. I wasn't sure if that was just on theirs or, okay. Good
Well,
enough.
it might be on theirs as well, but they specifically asked that Patriot Park be used for the encampment.
Thank you.
It was a lot. I mean, it was a 3 or 4 page ask.
It was a lot.
Right. One thing I want to mention, though, is that what they're explaining here is what their plans were and what they wanted to do. And I think they were just trying to be very open about what their ideas were. I think that to me, this was a group of people saying, gee, do you have any input? I don't see anything that's asking for the staff to do anything. I don't see that. The only things that I could see that would cost is, the idea that some of us might know some food truck vendors. That's not staff. That's just asking the community if they know of food truck vendors. The only things that would cost here, like you're saying, possibly the insurance, if so, not that much, and a porta potty. I don't know what else they're asking here that would cost. What else do we see here? They're just asking to collaborate. Let's work together. This should be something we're jumping on. How do we do it?
Well, I read something different than you read, Debbie, so they should be clearer what the ask is from the borough then, because I read that they were asking the borough to fulfill a lot of the planning. And obviously the mayor thought the same. Virginia, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we will ask them, Virginia, let's send them an email asking them to clarify what it is that they're looking from the borough. Okay, public comment just for items on the agenda. Nobody signed up, so does anybody have any? Okay, the engineer report, welcome Jacob. Oh, that's not good when you have a board.
I'm still going to make it short and sweet.
No way.
Do my very best. All right, hello everyone. I'm going to go down through what some of the items I have on your agenda for you. So the first one is under your consent agenda items. It is for a grant resolution to apply for a grant for traffic signal improvements at East Bridge Street and Delmore Avenue and East Bridge Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. We combine these two because they kind of work together. So the total project cost for that is $1,121,100. It does require a 20% match from the borough, so that would be $224,220, which we can try to apply for other grants to cover that match as well. This grant application is due at the end of March here, so the resolution is in front of you tonight. The next item on your action items is 10B, and this is for the minor subdivision of a parcel owned by the borough on East Cleveland Avenue, but has a Penn Avenue address. That is what this plan here is for. I just wanted to give everyone a visual here of what the property we're looking at. So tonight for consideration is to approve the final minor subdivision of this property. So again, the borough owns this. This is considered the Cloverleaf property. It's currently under soil remediation right now by the Bucks County RDA. We are proposing a minor subdivision line to separate off the majority of the parcel from the borough's parking lot that serves the senior center and the district court facility there, and also the playground that was just newly installed. Because the project has an E&S permit with the RDA for this, the work for the borough's parking lot can't happen at the same time on the property. So we are proposing now to subdivide it. There is no improvements at this time on either property. This is just to separate out the work areas.
Simply put, we can't have two different E&S permits on one property. So to be able to fix the parking lot, we need to create the new parcel that we're keeping.
If I were to join the RDA's parking or their NPDS permit, their E&S permit it's approximately 6 to 8 months to amend that permit. So this was the fastest route to go to subdivide and create its own parcel. So again, this is just subdividing the property. Borough will own both pieces going forward. There is I know there's been a future development proposed here in front of council, but this is not for that at this time.
A question, Jacob, on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry. So subdividing it, then later on, if we do get a developer, it could make the lines a little bit cleaner too for.
This would be the line that would be proposed for the developer as well. They were always going to propose to give back the borough, the parking lot and the playground area.
Okay.
So it would not change again. Any other questions on that one before I move on? No, you're good. The next item I have on your agenda is 10C, and this is regarding the trail projects within the borough. So we had analyzed a few trail segments that we could apply for grants that were pointed out through the DVRPC Regional Trail Program, and then also the DCD Green Waste Trails and Recreation Program. So we pulled together a few recommendations for trail segments. One of the segments is to improve the existing levee trail, that stone gravel trail on top of the levee, and then create an extension following down Bridge Street and then down South Delmore into the southern part of the borough, where the borough owns several pieces of property along the riverfront there. So giving a trail access to that to use that space as passive recreation. The second recommendation of that report was to just improve the levee trail itself by putting in, paving the trail instead of having the stone gravel, updating the benches, providing some path lights, and formalizing those entrances to the levee trail. Right now, Park Avenue, it's kind of wishy-washy where you join on, and then it's not very clear also. There's a crossing up at Delmore and Trenton to get onto the canal, but it's a little, again, wishy-washy there to join. The third one in our letter was for what was identified as the previous study that was done in 2019 that identified, again, those sidewalk gaps, trail connections area. This is what we're calling the Franklin Loop. It's on Franklin Street, and it would provide a connection from the levee trail to the Delaware Canal Trail, and it would cross Delmore at Franklin Street there. The borough owns a piece of property, again, Williamson Park on one side, and the borough owns a piece of property on the other side of Delmore on Franklin Avenue that we could utilize. There'd be a little bit of, we'd have to go back into the right-of-way as we got closer to the canal. There's a property up there. But that would just be to establish a trail connection, again, from the levee trail. This would not include updating the levee trail in that segment, just building a new connection. This one, because it would be crossing Delmore Avenue, would need a mid-block crossing, which now they're similar to what happened at Bridge Street right by Ashland, the flashing beacon lights. We'd be proposing the same thing there for that one. And then the fourth trail recommendation was to connect, again, back to Summerseat, connecting the Summerseat Patriots Park area to the Delaware Canal, down Clymer Street, sorry if I messed that up, through I think it's called the Towers. Is that the scene? Yeah, through the.
At the end of Harper, and the Towers owns the little bit of land there.
Yeah, so we'd have to cross through, we need an easement to get through their property and then get across the canal. That would be a bigger task to do, coordinating with the canal, the DCNR to do so. But the reason why we identified these 4 trails is because that DVRPC grant, one of its requirements is to connect to circuit trails, and one of the circuit trails is the Delaware Canal Trail. So I highlighted those possible connections right now in this recommendation letter. So yeah, I'd be looking to move forward with the grant. That DVRPC one is due at the end of March. I have a short time period, which I'll turn around here quick, but be proposing to apply for a combination of those grants through there. And then also applying for additional funds through that Green Waste Trails, because both the DVRPC one max amount you can request is $400,000, and then for Green Waste Trails, the max amount you request for that is $250,000. I'm still working through cost estimates. I know Mr. Dillon and I try to get some numbers here, but for the levee trail, which would be recommendation 1 and 2, one being the full connection. I'm upwards of 600,000 at the moment for that. Just by providing new asphalt trails, redoing some of the sidewalks, ADA crossings, that kind of stuff. For the levee trail itself is probably around the 300. And then the other two are actually more probably around the 200-ish range. So putting a combination of applications together as a package to best apply to both of these applications. Are there any questions on the trails specific before I move on?
So the levee trail, we had approved also to expand that. So this is just adding on to looking for grants to do this, right?
Well, we'd be applying for now the grant to expand the trail.
Right. But we had, last year we had identified widening the levee trail and putting lights. So this would help that
yes.
motion.
Yeah, we would do that same, we would widen the trail, make it more,
right.
An asphalt path, add the lightings, upgrade the benches that are there now, the stairs, upgrading those.
Okay.
So yes, all that improvements to the trail would be part of both recommendation 1 and then it's solely on number 2 in that letter.
Anybody from council?
I have some questions. I have some questions, actually. It was some concerns about these grants, these particular projects. First off, you said the number 1 recommendation would be $600,000 is what you're guessing, and the levee trail widening with lights and everything would only be 300.
The first recommendation is to establish a whole new extension of the trail, but using some of the existing sidewalks. So Bridge Street right now has sidewalk, is where it is acceptable, where it is ADA compliant. We would leave that and designate that as the trail route with some signage, so we wouldn't need to improve that. But there are other places I know, I don't know if it's still the Dairy Queen, but on Google Street View, it's the Dairy Queen, right where the train tracks cross Delmore Avenue. There's not a pedestrian crossing for those railroad tracks, so we would need to improve that area. And then again, there's some other areas along Delmore, the sidewalk.
That's what I'm saying. The widening of the levee with lights and everything would be quite expensive.
Well, we would just be widening the trail on top.
Widening the trail on top. You're talking about putting lights, though.
Yeah.
And okay, all right. So my first question has to do with the trail that you have identified from the levee down Delmore into the Riverfront Preserve. So I can see there's definitely a good path that could go all the way to Philadelphia Avenue. But my question is once you get to Philadelphia Avenue and get into the preserve, that's the floodway. And can you tell me how you can protect an asphalt path from the flood water, the river, because that is actually the river comes through there. It piles debris on top of everything down there all the time. How would you keep that path from getting damaged or buried?
We would stay away from the river, closer towards the train tracks that continue down.
It goes all the way up there. The river will go all the way. The floodway goes all the way to the railroad tracks, and that path right down below that goes along the train tracks gets covered with debris regularly with high water events all the time.
Okay, I mean, I was not aware of that, so I will look into that. And again,
Very, very the water will bring trees through there. It will bring. We've actually had to go and shovel out that trail many times. So in order to do this option really requires a lot of discussion in terms of what, how much we're willing to commit to this. Are we willing to commit borough resources to it? Who's going to take care of it? Permitting process. There's also, we have to look at zoning. It's a natural lands district. Is a paved path through natural lands district okay? We'd have to look at that. We'd also have to look at, like I said, how much maintenance are we willing? Do we have borough staff to take care of and shovel out this path? And the other thing, that particular piece, I'm not sure how that really does enhance the circuit trail network, because it's kind of a spur that goes off and then just stops at where we now have the outflow pipe for the sewer plant. So it kind of just goes to nowhere and then turns,
It doesn't go to nowhere. It connects.
I have a suggestion. How about we just don't put a trail there?
That would make sense to me.
An option as well. Our thought for providing this trail connection was to access those borough resources to the river, give those people access so they can walk their dogs down to the trail, down through and see the river and get the,
Right, but you don't need an asphalt path for that.
Well, it also
People have the
allows the people in the first ward to start walking up there. Every trail is not in the first ward, so you have to think of the whole town, not just uptown.
I'm just talking about this particular trail.
Yeah, this particular trail will connect the first ward up to the levee,
which would then connect to the circuit trail. So again, I'm trying to provide a connection.
Well, that's neither here nor there. It would be very, very expensive and be very convoluted to get a paved trail through that area. The water regularly comes through there. Debris regularly comes up through there.
Yeah, everything that I've looked at so far was a conceptual level. I haven't gotten down into
if you go down there, you'll find, absolutely.
I have a question about the levee expansion. Jacob?
Yeah.
I think the grant says that it has to be, the trails have to be bicyclable and walkable. So are we all right with designating the levee as a bicycle pathway? I assume, I guess somebody could ride a bicycle on the pathway now, but if we actually did this, would we get a lot more bicycles, and would that be tough for the people who are walking and walking their dogs? And then the other question I have, that levy is part of the church trust. I'm wondering if that would be a problem for us and put us into some kind of negotiations with the church trust. And I don't understand the lights.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second. That levy is not part of the church trust. That belongs to the borough.
No, it's part of the church trust.
No, it was turned over to the borough.
It is still under the trust.
And Jacob, what kind of lighting are you talking about on the levee? Is it big lights? Because you said path lights. So is it really low path lights? What?
I mean, again, everything I have here so far is conceptual. I haven't got into the full design. So to answer the bicycle question, we'll have to look at, yes, is there enough width there now to accommodate bicycles and pedestrians? I want to say it needs to be at least 8 feet wide to do so. And that's why this would also establish make that connection so you can ride your bicycle up there. Right now, I don't think it's very easy to get up to the levee trail. So we'd actually be providing an accessible path up through there and then again down the other side to connect. As far as the lights, not something that I've fully designed out that we've come up with, but it could be the low 4-foot high path lighting, or it could be the similar style to the boroughs, like decorative street lights. We could do something like that. Again, these are all items that are still up for.
So that could be a little problematic for the people who live down there along the levee with lights. And I'm just wondering.
Yeah, and our trail people are people that do this kind of design. They would take that all into consideration, look at where the houses are, and maybe in some areas not put as many lights or put them only at the bench areas. So I'm not saying we're going to put 50 lights down across the levee, but more maybe at the start of the trail, and then again, maybe at those bench locations or stair locations, access down to the Williamson Park, doing more.
So the park closes at dusk, so people could still access the levee even though the park is closed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if that is included in the parks in that time frame.
So Debbie, you brought this to us, and Debbie, you brought this to us. So do you want a motion not to proceed with this? Because your comments and your questions seem to be anti-approving this motion.
If you want my personal opinion on this? Yes, I think that all four of these options are rather, are problematic in that they would require excessive legal fees for easements, buying property. You have to go through a state park if you're going to do a bridge. It's very expensive. You'd have to make agreements with the Presbyterian Towers. We haven't discussed how we want that park used, the Williamson Park used at all. How do we expect to allow people to be using the levee trail at night? And
Okay,
we're
so-
giving them
okay,
plenty
so,
of- let me finish. And so we're providing access to a dark park at night. Is that something that we really want to do? We haven't fully discussed that. We haven't fully discussed, there's some other issues with the Franklin Trail with where we're discussing crossing. There's issues with the, so there are concerns. I had asked that we could meet with the engineer and talk about the ideas of using this particular grant to create connections to the circuit trail and partner that with trails that would be within Williamson Park that could create a loop through downtown. If we'd been allowed to speak with the engineer and maybe talk through some of this, we could have directed or at least focused the intent on something a little.
I'm sorry, you don't get to speak to the engineer and decide what should be done. There's 8 people on council, and you asked for this grant. Jacob came up with some things that he thought would probably benefit the town. So we're just going to move on, and if you don't want it, then you can vote no. Go ahead, Jacob.
All right. I will move on then down to the last item on the agenda, and that is to authorize us, Gilmore, to proceed with the engineering and design for the West Palmer Street curb ramp project. So the borough had received a DCD, multimodal transportation fund for that, and I've been trying to figure out the best way if we could bid out the project as design build to avoid spending excess amount in engineering. And after some back and forth with the grant folks, I don't think it'll work that way. They will still likely, even if we put engineering or some sort of design on the contractor, it will most likely then come back to the borough to still cover that. They'd only be allowed to use 10% of the grant funds for that. So I put together a budget to fully design, survey, design, bidding administration, construction management, construction observation, and the grant administration for that grant, and came up with $45,000 for that budget. Again, the borough has $247,444 in grant funds. 10% of that is allowed to be used towards engineering. So if subtracting $24,744 from the $45,000 budget, asking the borough to authorize $20,255 to complete this design of this project. If I'm approved tonight to proceed, I will get started right away with the design and anticipate getting this out to bid before the summer. And then having those ramps constructed, because I know that West Palmer is the main school road, so we'd work to get the construction completed prior to school start in September, August, whenever that may be. And that's all that's on your agenda. The couple items I just wanted to touch quick base project updates. Not on the agenda is the 2026 road program. I've been working with the contractor, the awarded contractor, to get all the documents in line. We're working through that. And I anticipate construction for that being the end of May again, June, same time frame that we did last year, waiting for the weather to break and be stable, and then anticipate again another month for that project to be completed. All weather depending, obviously, see how June goes, knock on some wood. The other project that was awarded last month was the Manor Park Senior Center parking lot project. I'm again working through with the contractor to get all those documents. We are, if this subdivision is approved, I can proceed with my permitting documentations, and we're looking to start very early April with the grant requirements. We have some deadlines to meet by getting a payment application in by the end of April, and then ultimately the grant needs to be completed all work for the grant needs to be completed by September 2026. I don't anticipate the project taking that long. I'm looking at approximately a 1 to 2 month time frame. There's still some unknowns as to what could be dug up in that parking lot. I know we've done testing and whatnot, but that could lead to some extended times. We will coordinate directly with the senior center and make sure that they're aware so they know where they're allowed to park or not park. And again, it's the same with the county justice center. Sallyport project, all the cameras were installed for the Sallyport. The door locks, we're real close. There's one last piece that I guess didn't come in and we're still waiting for it to be delivered. So hopefully in the next week that'll be here and we can lock it up and let the chief use it. And then we can have a grand opening ceremony and whatnot in the spring here. Last one, I know it was talked about with Patriots Park. The proposal was to improve that parking lot. We have the $500,000 RACP grant money for that. I did just get approval to proceed with the bidding. I needed the state and their agency to review our documents and everything to approve me to go out to bid. Again, it's just for the parking lot to expand, reconfigure, establish a nice paved parking lot for there for the on the borough property. So I'd be looking to put that out to bid here in the spring and not award or start construction until after July and August 2026. Wait till all the events are done. With that, that's all I had to give you tonight. So if there's no other questions or specifics.
Oh, thank you so much, Jacob.
Yep.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Yep.
Hey, do you have anything? Nope. Solicitor report?
Just to follow up from last week, you recall we had a minor incident here during public comment. Public comment period, it's called a limited public forum. What that means is we have a set amount of time, a set amount of space. Who's allowed to speak by statute? It's residents and taxpayers. Obviously, council can open up more, but also with a limited public forum, the subject matter comes into play. Things you talk about in public comment, matters of borough concern, items on the agenda. All right. The whole idea of public comment is to address the 8 people, 10, 11, include myself if you want to, but it's to address the council, bring up your issues, bring up your problems, things that the borough has control over. Political statements, lobbying, things unrelated to the borough itself, i.e. that includes like talking about the schools, really aren't a matter for coming up here. You have an issue with the school, you should go to their meeting. You know, you have an issue, you want to talk about politics, go right outside on the sidewalk down there and talk your lungs out. But right here, this is a matter of addressing your elected representatives, bringing matters that they are in control of, to, you know, redress, whether you agree or disagree with them. That's what it's for. We have plenty of people who come here, disagree with things. They do it the proper way. I mean, I'll be honest, he's not here tonight, but Mr. Taylor is an exemplary public commenter. Whether you agree or disagree with him, he has an issue of concern, he's respectful. You know, that's what public comment is for, whether it's on the agenda or not. But it is not for personal statements, political statements, trying to get statements out to the public. It's to address your elected representatives, your borough manager, even myself, but public comment is supposed to be directed to the council. All right, it's not a free-for-all to say what you want. So just to follow up on that, because it did get a little heated, and I just want to make sure that came across last week when I tried, or not last week, last month when I was trying to explain that as well. Also in public comments, you know, it's not meant to be, it can be, but it's not meant to be a back and forth, all right? It disrupts the flow, it creates problems. You know, what we do in other places as well, and we recommend to all our council, write down stuff, all right? Write down what people said. You might have a response, all right? We have at the end of here, council discussion. Bring it up then, provide the response. It keeps order, it keeps the flow working. So if you have questions, you know, think to them, they might be answered. And sometimes it's also tough to answer questions because the person might not be here. For instance, we had Mr. Italia and Mr. Del Vecchio here earlier. They're not here anymore, but if you asked these people some questions about code enforcement, they're not going to necessarily have the answers right away for you, but they can direct it to the borough manager who can get them and we can follow up. So just some ideas for public comment and just to keep it in what public comment is for and a way to keep it orderly and keep the meeting moving.
I'm just going to add to that as well, Peggy. I did not bang the gavel And then the solicitor did not agree with me. The solicitor told me to stop the comment.
Well, I heard you bang the gavel.
Well, but you're spreading falsehoods without knowing the reality of the situation.
Because I've been on the other end of your gavel. and that was just because you said I went over my 3 minutes.
Yes.
And I knew that wasn't true because I really.
Okay, but in this situation, the solicitor whispered to me to bang the gavel. So it's not fine because you put it out there and you lied to the residents.
I didn't.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the police chief report.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll keep it short. I ran into a resident this month, and she asked me a question. And she said, Rich. No, she said, Chief. I said, call me Rich. She refuses. But she asked me why. Oh, I'm sorry. Better? She asked me why I haven't really spoken much about the statistics, the UCR reports, and the crime trends and stats. And I said that I did that when I started, but I chose to change the path a little bit and talk about, the current events, the fantastic things that our officers do, stuff that's coming up. But I think it is important to listen to the residents. So going back this year, I would say that, or I can say that our Part 1 offenses are down about 16% from last year. Those are more serious offenses: murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, theft, vehicle theft. And our Part 2 offenses, which are less serious, are actually up about 28% this year. We've been very busy. Crime trends are down somewhat across the nation, but our calls for service have been elevated, and because of that, we're very busy with service calls. Our arrests are just about the same as they were this time last year, just a few less, but that's also because a lot of the Part 2 offenses we don't necessarily make arrests for. So everything is kind of in line. The other thing I wanted to talk about with related to crime stats are, I used to talk about our crime log that we have every week that we put out on Crime Watch. And I keep them, they come to me every week, and usually they're about 1 page, sometimes a page and a half. This past week, March 10th through 16th, it was about 4 pages. And we were getting killed with motor vehicle thefts, criminal mischief to motor vehicle, thefts from autos, and attempts. In total, we had 21 incidents in this 1 week period. So in response to that, I always like to remind everybody to lock their doors, try to park their cars in a well-lit area. On our end, we increased our patrols. We increased our directed patrols to the areas that have been affected. But I would like to say, and I'm glad to say, that while we were in session earlier, I got a phone call from the corporal, which I put the voicemail, but I talked to him after. At that time, there was a car that came over the bridge. It was reported that the person was showing a handgun. Our officers located the car took off, Falls Township got involved. The car wound up crashing and 3 people were arrested. This was a car that was stolen in Falls Township yesterday, and we believe that one of our cars that were stolen here that was dumped in Falls, they took this car. So they did recover a pellet gun, so it gave some truth to the report that they were pointing a weapon. And hopefully that this will put some of this to bed, because 3 of the people that were in that car were arrested. Fortunately, and I'm glad it was an away game, so our officers just assisted, and Falls Township has to deal with all that now, but hopefully it quiets things down. But again, just please lock your doors. Some of these cars have been pulled door handles and doors have been left unlocked. Some of them, the windows have been smashed, and you really can't always prevent that. That's why I say if you could park in a well-lit area, that helps. So that's really all I have for crime stats. I just wanted to say that there was a planned protest last week. We had a response. We met with the organizers, and the weather was on our side, so it really didn't amount to much, but we were prepared for it. And we have coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, a rally in Williamson Park. similar to the, I believe, the No Kings event that happened in October. I'm not sure if this is considered a No Kings, but again, I plan on meeting with the organizers, establishing a dialogue and making a plan so it's a safe event for everybody. That's all I have.
Chief, I'd be able to ask, somebody had asked me earlier today when it came in relation to the car thefts. They had seen online that it has oftentimes been targeting a specific kind of car. Could you give it a little validation? Is it something to be aware of, or is it more random than it's being perceived?
So I don't want to give away too much because I don't want to make it easy, right? But there is a particular model of Kia out there where apparently it is very easy to hotwire.
Okay. That was the concerns they brought up.
Too easy.
Okay.
And that is one of the primary vehicles that is being targeted and stolen.
Thank you.
Just thank you, Chief, for giving that report. I appreciate it. And then also taking the time out to meet with the organizers of the events, just to make sure, again, it's not taking a side, it's just making sure that the residents of Morrisville are safe during these protests. Everyone has the right to protest, and so be it. Let's do it peacefully. And thank you, Chief, for just putting a little bit more extra security over there, making sure everyone's okay.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank you very much for your last presence at the first No Kings March that we held here. And I just thought the police presence was perfect, the way you did it.
We
Thank
hope
you.
to do the same for the next one.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, community outreach. Go ahead.
All right, so up here you have letters of interest for the vacancy board chair. We talked about that last week. Just a minor note here. Michelle McGowan serves on the zoning hearing board. And there is, with regard to zoning hearing board, it's actually one of the few boards and commissions where you can only serve on one item. Being a member of the zoning hearing board prohibits you from holding any other township, borough employment or borough appointed office. Believe it or not, this is a common thing that comes up often. I mean, people who get involved, they want to help, they want to continue to get involved, and it's not one of those things unless you deal in it on a regular basis you know about. I mean, this is not the first time this has happened. I've had 3 other municipalities in the last year have something similar. We actually had it's an anachronism, something you guys don't know about as a borough, but second-class townships have this thing called a township auditor. It is an elected position where they meet once a year to potentially talk about salaries of their supervisors, their elected body, if they hold township employment. Yes, in townships, smaller townships, in more rural areas, you have supervisors, actually township employees. So we have this thing called a board of auditors that does that. Well, the board of auditors, same thing, you're an elected official, so you can't hold a different appointed township office. So someone had to resign from one of those two this weekend, earlier this year, because they were elected in November to this position. And zoning hearing board, same thing. Just know that if you ever are on the zoning hearing board, you're interested in getting involved, be on the zoning hearing board. It's a quasi-judicial body. You just can't do much more else in the borough at that point. So just know from that standpoint.
Virginia, can we make sure that when new zoning hearing board appointments come up, that is relayed to the people? Okay, because I don't think they knew that. I didn't know that either. Okay, so we have an appointment of the vacancy board chair. We have 2 letters of interest, one from Larissa Fallon and one from Allison Pila. I do want to thank the third person, although they are on the zoning hearing board, but thanks for your interest. So do I have any nominations?
I want to nominate Larissa Fallon.
For the sake of encouraging and diversifying our committees and appointed people, so we don't continue just appointing either the same people to multiple positions or
Are there any nominations?
spouses and members to take the same roles over and over in Morrisville, I'd like to nominate Allison Pilla as a fresh face and new person who's interested to step up and get involved in the borough.
Okay, if everyone on council, as Virginia roll call, could you read their name, and could the council member just state who they would like?
Allison Pilla.
Larissa Fallon.
Larissa Fallon. Larissa Fallon.
Alyssa Pilla.
Allison Pilla.
Mr. Fallon?
Allison Pilla.
Mr. Mayor, you can either break the tie or request that we hold a separate meeting. What was your?
I did get away with the last one without having to do this. But before I go ahead and say, I just want to thank all three for putting their names in. I am going to vote for Larissa, but that is only because I have personally worked with her and understand what she's working. But Allison, I've also seen you at the school, so thank you so much for stepping up and wanting to do something for the borough, do not something, but do good for the borough. So thank you.
Hey, Larissa Fallon, congratulations. Consent agenda. I'm just going to remind everyone, the consent agenda is grouped as to items that shouldn't really have any issues with, but if there's anyone on council that does not agree with any item on the consent agenda, they should just state so, and we will pull it off the consent and put it under an action item. So that has been the procedures, and that will continue to be the procedures. So the consent agenda is approval of the bill list from 2/1 to 2/28/26 in the amount of $273,908.90. Adopt the resolution authorizing the submission of a Green Light Go grant application through the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and designating officials to execute documents for the modernization of the traffic signals at East Bridge Street and Delmore Avenue and East Bridge Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. Approval of Chief Ciampa disposing of a non-functioning Hewlett-Packard LaserJet Pro 200. Approval of Ivan's Outreach Center Run Through History 5K event and associated safety plan reviewed by the police chief on Saturday, June 13th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Williamson Park. Approval to allow Summerseat to use Patriots Park for Celebration 250 events with the stipulation that Summerseat provides waivers and insurance to the borough prior to any event. Any muskets discharged during events must be reviewed and approved by the Morrisville Police Department before use. Events are not co-sponsored by the borough. Approval to allow the 4th of July Wagon Parade road closures, Clymer, Harper, Hillcrest, and Legion Avenue surrounding Summerseat, pending review and approval by the police chief. Scott, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Marie, can I second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Action item. Scott, would you make the first motion?
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
10A, I call for a motion to approve the part-time police hourly rate increase from $29 to $32 an hour effective April 1st, 2026, with a $1 incremental annual increase in salary on January 1st, 2027, $33 an hour, and January 1st, 2028, $34 an hour.
Sean, would you second?
Proudly second.
Okay, just for the public, this is to make our part-time positions more competitive. So any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 8-0. Peggy, would you read the next motion?
Call for motion to approve resolution granting final minor subdivision approval to Morrisville Borough for the minor subdivision of TMP number 24-012-081 located at Penn Avenue.
Anna, would you second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. I was wondering, I would like to ask Mr. Dillon if it's possible when this information is sent to Planning Commission or something goes to zoning, could council members also be copied on that information so that just we're aware that it's happening?
We'll do our best. This was a quick one so we can get that project moving at the parking lot, you know? This was really a rapid.
Just asking that we could be CC'd on the emails that are sent.
I have no problem. Virginia, can you make sure whatever has got to be done?
So anything that goes to planning, if the planning commission, if you could just send it to the council members.
Zoning too.
And zoning. Anybody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0.
Do you see that we would cover it?
No, we have to do it. We have to do it.
I'm learning.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm sorry. There was a question on the dais about option C. Debbie, would you read the next one?
A call for a motion to authorize Gilmore and Associates Incorporated to proceed with preparation of grant application through the DVRPC Regional Trails Program for the 4 trail segments outlined in the Trail Grant Opportunities Grant Report: Levee Trail and Southern Riverfront Preserve, Levee Trail, Clymer Avenue Bridge, and Franklin Street Loop.
Diane, would you second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
I have something. Before I commit to paying engineering fees, and I want to thank Jacob for all of his work on this, I just feel we need to do more planning and discussion. Hopefully we would do it with some resident input. And I would really like to focus on the April grant because we have more time. I know you were really up against the wire with this one. It's a very short turnaround that we asked you to do this. But the April grant, I think, would allow us to put parks in the trail because it covers interior trails in the park. And that's one of the first things that residents said they want to see done in Williamson Park when they met several years ago with a large group of residents. So I'm really hoping that, even though I think I have to vote against this, I'm hoping that we will continue to work on the grant for the interior trails.
Okay, so Peggy, just so you know, this was brought to the borough manager by Debbie, and then it got put onto the agenda. The real thing that should have happened is it should have been brought up as a discussion for all of council, under council discussions, before she went to the borough manager and then got put onto the agenda, because then council could have had a discussion and decided these things together. But so Virginia, let's do a roll call on this.
I'm sorry, I thought we're still in discussion. Correct?
Roll call?
Are we still in discussion? Are you shutting discussion down?
I mean, you asked so many questions of the engineer. Do you have more?
Yeah, I have a comment. I think that we missed an opportunity. I really appreciate what Jacob did. I do appreciate that work, but I do think that if we had committees, like in the past, would you have committees? There would have been information, we could have informed Jacob of information that people actually use these routes know. And while I think that improving the safety of walkability and bikeability in the borough is really important, I think these particular connections that he's identified have a lot of hurdles that we could simplify. And I think that's just where the community has an opportunity to talk with the engineer. This is where committees really help you out. I understand that it's not, I don't talk to the engineer. I understand that. But I do think that the community should be able to relay our interest, our thoughts to the engineer, so he can therefore provide some ideas that are community driven. It's very important. By just handing this off to Jacob, he didn't have any, he just had one thing that he's looking at. If he had had the ability to talk with all of us together, meet with us, an hour of his time, it wouldn't have been a lot of money and we would get a lot better project. So I'm very sorry but the only way, the rules for getting things on the agenda keeps changing over and
nothing
over.
keeps changing.
My understanding is that it was the borough manager that makes that decision. It was the borough's manager's decision to put this on the agenda, not put it up for discussion.
You said simplifying there, Debbie, and simplifying. So, okay, we have a borough with 9,000 people. There's 8 of us up here plus the mayor. We have text messages. We have Facebook Messenger. We run into people in Giant. This committee, like with all these layers that we have to have, is not simplifying things. It's not impossible for people in town to get a hold of any of us. And when we say the residents, I don't know when we say the residents if we're talking 5 people, 10 people, or 100 people. I know that there's a couple hundred residents in my ward, and I would say half of them don't even know who I am and don't care. They just want to live their lives. Last month, Scott was very to the point and poignant and elegant, and I would like, if you could, Scott, to repeat that again, your little spiel on committees and everything. Can you read that again, whatever you said last month?
Thank you, Scott.
Remember how you said.
Come on, Scott.
Committees. He can't do it verbatim.
Yes, I can't do it for verbatim, but I mean, everything you're asking for from a committee standpoint can be done here as a committee of the whole, we'll call it. I mean, you can bring these up in discussion items. You can bring it up at the beginning and the end. Even if it's not on the discussion, even if it's not on Jacob's report, you could ask him questions during his report and bring it up then and things to do. The concern with committees, not the concern with committees, but one of the things, well, I'll talk about the concern with the committees that we had in the past was, Virginia can attest to this, our prior board managers can attest to this, there's additional requirements on the staff with regard to advertising, the minute requirements, all those things. It's not just hey, let's come up here and meet. There's administrative pressure put onto them as well. And I'll be honest, in the past, we had problems with the minutes being done, meetings being properly advertised, agendas being created, and that created a concern with regard to violating the Sunshine Law. And again, everything, with regard to what you're asking, just, I don't have a say in whether you have committees or not. That's entirely up to you. Just from a recommendation of all other clients in Bucks County, no one else has committees because they're able to discuss it amongst themselves up here on this date.
I'm sorry, I have to respectfully disagree. I see lots of townships with plenty of committees, but the idea that all these discussions can happen up here, I mean, just bringing up additional questions is just a wave of exacerbation about the fact this needs to go fast and quick. But this is supposed to be that discussion.
I am going to cut you off. You could talk about this under council discussion. This is not about committees. This is about this agenda item. This so we are talking about the DVRP, so not council committees. We can talk about it further down in the agenda. Virginia, roll call.
Sadly, no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Well, based on everything I heard, and I don't know much about the park, but I do think there is a lot of opportunities and maybe further looking into this. So I'm going to vote no.
I'm afraid no.
Yes.
I'm afraid I have to vote no, but I do hope we'll pursue the interior trail grants for April.
We all know where that lands. You guys making up for last month. This is the time, right? So we got to apply for it, go for it. And then if we're awarded, then we work on the planning and figure out what it looks like at that point. So I'm 100% for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Marie, would you read the next motion?
Okay. Apologize. D. Call for a motion to authorize Gilmore and Associates Incorporation to proceed with the engineering and design for the West Palmer Street curb ramp project for an amount of $20,255. The balance of the engineering costs are anticipated to be covered by the DCED Multimodal Transportation Fund grant funding.
Peggy, would you second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Oh, I forgot to say that the other motion passed 5-4. Diane, would you read the next motion?
E, call for motion to authorize Chief of Police to purchase a new 2026 Ford Explorer police vehicle with an estimated cost of $77,000, including upfitting.
Scott, would you second?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Sean, would you read the next motion?
F, call for a motion to co-sponsor Rock and Rock 250 music event on Saturday, May 16th from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. No additional cost to the borough.
Debbie, would you second?
It's worded incorrectly.
I'm sorry. We have a first, right?
No, is it Rock and Rock or Rock and Roll?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. I was kind of wondering that, but I just read it as is.
Okay, would you?
Second the rock and roll, but I won't second the rock and roll.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Public comment. We have Linda Meyer. This is on non-agenda items. State your name.
Hi, my name is Linda Meyer. I live on Hamilton Boulevard. I wanted to talk a little bit about the library. The library introduced a brand new program as of March. They have a new Kid Librarian of the Month program that they've instituted. The first librarian is Olivia, age 8, and her book picks are available on the web page. They're also available in the little report I dropped off ahead of time. The April Kid Librarian is going to be Lydia. She's either 8 or 9, but I'm not sure, so I didn't put that in. And there's several additional children who've asked to become kid librarians in the future. So it's a program that is anticipated to be ongoing. The other thing is I wanted to give a little bit of information about the Bucks County Seed Share Program. The Bucks County Seed Share Program is hosted at both Morrisville and Southampton. Between the two libraries, approximately or almost 10,000 packets of seeds were distributed for 2025. And they put out seed sowing kits, which had everything you needed to sow seeds to start your own garden, except the actual seeds, and you could pick those out. And they distributed over 100 seed sowing kits. The first batch that were delivered were gone within 2 days, and they got a second batch, and they were also gone within 2 or 3 days. I wanted to mention a couple of recently completed special programs. The first free puzzle swap was on February 21st. Approximately 30 people participated, including 7 children. There was a lot of compliments on actually the quality of the puzzles that people dropped off. And we had people who came from as far away as Freehold, New Jersey to attend the puzzle swap. So that is now going to be a quarterly event. So you'll be able to switch them out. And we had one gentleman who brought in some puzzles because he said his kids love cats and he doesn't, and he got 7 cat puzzles for Christmas. So he wanted some different ones.
Can't blame him.
The Morrisville Winter Library raffle with the donations from the 19 businesses is going to be drawn on Monday, March 23rd. As of yesterday, there's about $740 in raffle tickets that have been sold. And this coming Saturday is the Pokemon Fun Day event that has a maximum of 80 participants. That filled up about a week and a half ago, and there's a waiting list. They are having all the kids get at least 25 or 35 Pokemon cards as attendees. They are also having a raffle, free raffle for the kids for a number of Pokemon prizes that have been donated. They have drawing, they have learning Pokemon, they have learning the cards. They're going to have a couple of Pokemon characters, people dressed up as Pokemon characters who are there. So with 80 kids, it's going to be quite full. I mean, that's the maximum that they can host. So that's anticipated to be a really popular event. The other thing I wanted to mention is the supplies. At the end of last year, the company that provided the books for all of the libraries in Pennsylvania went out of business. And one thing that most people did not realize is that company, when they purchased books, they also got them shelf ready. So they put them into the library system so you could look them up. They did I brought a sample book. They did all the book covers, so they put the book covers on, including the tape. They put all the stickers on, including the new sticker, which would on the outside to come off. They did the barcodes for the libraries. So all of these things were already there when the books came, so they were basically ready to go on. Since they have gone out of business, the library has had to purchase all the supplies and the stickers and make the barcodes and everything else like that. They've also, for every new book that comes in, had to check and see if it actually is in the library and add it. So it's added a lot of time and a lot of cost to their supplies. So thank you.
That's good to know. Thank you for that, Linda. Holly Harmon.
Good evening, Holly Harmon, Plaza Boulevard. Just one quick little thing, because I do try to post the agenda for the town to see. It needs to be there 24 hours per regulations, and it wasn't on until I went to bed last night, which was around 10:30. I did find it this morning, but I'm hoping whoever's responsible for that does get it out onto the website in the required 24 hours in the future. Thank you.
I went on about 8:30 and it was on. So maybe there was something wrong with your computer or something. Maybe something didn't refresh.
I looked on 2 devices, so I don't know where it was.
I'll make sure I check going forward, but thank you. We'll make sure that is up. Okay, no one else with public comment? Okay, council discussion?
I would like to make this comment. On January 26, I emailed our borough manager requesting some financial documents, which was the JCI loan, all the bank statements, as well as the 2025 road program bond and a loan. On February 3rd, Mr. Dillon, pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. So I'll start again. On January 26th of this year, I emailed Mr. Dillon requesting the following documents: the JCI loan, all the bank statements, and the 2025 road program bond and loan. On February 3rd, Mr. Dillon responded to me asking Virginia to put all the information together, as well as keep all her time log, to how long it takes her to gather the information. And then Mr. Dillon said, Anna, if you feel there has been some illegal activities, please contact the district attorney's office. Thank you, Jim Dillon. And that really took me by surprise and gave me a pause. And then I realized that what we have here is a failure to communicate. And I think this could be because we are at the beginning of a working partnership. Like you, I believe in full transparency and a total disclosure of Morrisville financial health, which was the premise of my request. Jim, you are a long-standing borough manager, and I have full confidence that you would never compromise your reputation where the Bucks County District Attorney Office would ever need to be involved. So please understand that when I ask for any and all financial documents, which as a council member is my fiduciary duty, it is not about you. It's about Morrisville and only Morrisville. And the president of the council, Helen, added, please work with the solicitor to ensure redact account numbers, etc. Provide an estimated cost for completing this. Why do you think the documents should be redacted?
We can't let account numbers out into the public.
I'm not a public, I'm a council member.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't need the account numbers. Why would you need the account numbers?
Why would you need the account numbers?
I don't have the account numbers. I don't ask for that kind of data.
Well, I think as a council member, I'm entitled to it.
On that, account numbers redacting on bank statements.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing we do with everyone, just from a standpoint. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just we do it from a standpoint of you just redact the information because I mean, is it not working? Is it working now? It's a pretty common thing we do, regardless of who it is. Just accidents happen, you know. Not that you're going to do anything wrong with the information, but people drop papers, things like that. It's just an extra precaution. Not that it's a same thing. It's not that we think you're going to do anything wrong with it, anything like that. It's just precaution to make sure all the borough's information is safe.
That could not have been provided, that explanation. It just says to redact the accounts.
Okay.
Did you get everything you were looking for?
No, I'm still waiting for it. I'm curious how long will it take for me to get that as of January.
Well, that was a lot of stuff he asked for, but I'm sure you'll get everything, and Virginia will do her job. And any idea, Virginia? She doesn't. We'll get it. Got to get it together. Got to save Morrisville, all right?
No, I'm sorry. I'd like to just tag on to what you're saying. All we're trying to find out is how much money does the borough have and where is it? What money do we owe and what money are we paying? That's not a difficult information to get.
You need account numbers for that?
I'm not asking for account numbers. I'm asking for that. I'm asking about the getting the information is what we're asking.
I didn't ask for account numbers.
Here.
I asked for the financial information.
You just sat here and yelled at three people here for
I just wanted to know why
it had to ask for it. What is it?
Well, which one is it? Why is it being redacted? And why wasn't I informed as to why it needed to be redacted?
I would think that's just common sense that you would redact account numbers. Like we redact a lot of information. You don't need to know the account number of the bank. The information has been put to staff is what Virginia just said, and staff is holding it up. So if you want to have a discussion in an executive session about the staff and their lack of momentum, we can do that.
I don't think I want to blame the staff. I don't think the staff needs to be blamed.
The staff is the ones that's pulling it.
So next time I'll just go to the staff and find out why.
No, you can't go to the staff. You have to go through Mr. Dillon.
So
Mr.
which
Dillon,
one is it?
You go through Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon asked Virginia. Virginia delegated it out to the people who are responsible for it.
Priority you know, all the borough's bills are being paid. We have auditors, you know, we'll get you your information. And you put it on the list of you know, top priority. Thank you.
Okay, I have an announcement. I meant to say this earlier, but in regards to the new garbage contract, everyone will be getting new garbage totes. So just as a timeline, from March 30th to April 4th is going to be the delivery window. The totes will be dropped off directly at each address. April 3rd, the check-in deadline. If you don't have a cart by the end of this day, you should contact the office immediately to request one. And by April 6th, the official start date for pickup using the new totes. It is my understanding that you can only use the new garbage cans, that you cannot use any other garbage cans, because I believe it's going to be the mechanical thing that lives up the garbage can. So we will put these deadlines on the website so that everyone can know, but please let your constituents know. So April 3rd, if you don't have a new garbage can, please let the office know, and April 6th is the date that you need to start using them. Check the contents. Don't forget to look inside the tote once it arrives. The paperwork included will contain specific instructions on placement and other pertinent information.
I have a question.
Is that for garbage and
Sorry,
recycling?
Diane asked a question.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Diane.
What will we be doing with our yard refuse, the brown bags that we put out? Are they still acceptable to put out?
I don't have that answer, but I'm assuming it's going to be in this information, the paperwork included inside the tote.
Okay, thanks.
Unless, John, later, do you have that answer? No, what's that?
He's sending an email right now.
He's asking that question of Republic.
And Helen, is it trash and recycling?
John, is it trash and recycling? Yeah, two totes.
Two? Okay. Nice.
So don't put out your Home Depot tote and then complain that my garbage wasn't picked up.
Good to know.
Okay.
I have something to say, please.
Ed Marie.
I've been wanting to say this probably since January. Using myself as an example for being a council member, I have previously seen very enthusiastic changes attempted, only to see and then realize it not to have happened due to due to procedural steps that need to be addressed. I'm speaking to the new members when I say this, you will hopefully be seeking advice for varying matters due to the necessary diligence, and speak to the seasoned council members to get feedback. As for social media, there was something that apparently that was said in the beginning of January. I'm not on social media, but I heard it from a reliable source. So as for social media, if we're striving to be a unified council, I'm strongly requesting you refrain from any negative comments about the council members. Thank you.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Peggy.
I know this will go over like a lead balloon, but I think we should have working sessions or agenda sessions. At our boot camp, we were told that one meeting a month is the bare minimum. And in talking with other municipalities and boroughs, most of them, except for most of our surrounding boroughs and municipalities, with the exception of Bristol Township, do have a working session or an agenda session. And I just think that would help us to be able to hash out some of these questions, suggestions, reservations at our working sessions, and then it would not look or seem so contentious at the council meetings. When I was a teacher and an administrator, if teachers and students asked me questions or prodded me about something I was proposing, I didn't consider it as an attack on me. I considered it as a sign of interest and a desire to make things better. So I just really think that would help this council.
I have a comment. What would really help this council if the contentious comments being made by the 4 new council members against the other council members did not happen. A lot of those comments are incorrect, they're inaccurate, and I might want to remind some of the people that those that used to sit in the audience snickering are now complaining about current people in the audience snickering. So I'm going to say meeting adjourned.
Still, I had an actual unrelated thing
No,
to
you
bring up
cannot.
for us in town. Something not contentious. I had an actual thing to bring up over a street issue.
Get moving on these.
I had a completely unrelated to all the other problems and issues. I had a street issue that was brought up to me by residents. I was going to ask because I guess the manager would have the best answer for it.
Does he need to?
The Bowling Green Court. It's a non-dedicated street issue apparently. So was just looking to get involved. They had issues because they are not a dedicated street. They don't receive the services and the plowing. I talked with John later with this for a while with this. And John, thank you very much for providing the information to myself and to the residents as well. But I had a couple of residents call during the last snowstorm. And because the street was undedicated, it's therefore not covered by the borough. So logically, Public Works could not plow the street. It was a privately built street, I understand, from Morazzo's back in the day. Yeah, it's Bowling Green. They call it Court, so it's like an off-branch.
It used to be an HOA.
Yeah.
And the HOA went bankrupt, which means that the residents that own those are now the HOA. So they need to figure out how to take care of their streets.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering is, I know we previously, with another road, had a dedicated issue. Is it possible to look into the possibility of getting the street properly dedicated? These are taxpayers, after all. So that way we can get those. And again, I understand why Public Works can't currently do so. But looking at what are the options to get this dedicated. If there's a physical issue where it doesn't meet certain PennDOT standards, are there alterations that can be made to help achieve that goal? Or can we come up with another solution to, provide these guys with a service from a third-party vendor if that's the case? I mean, they are taxpayers after all. So I think putting their tax dollars towards something like that would be a bit beneficial to them. Again, I understand why our public work guys can't, but I know we once before had a dedicated street issue. So would it be possible to look into what are the options to get the street onto the map involved? I know it was on the road program last year and it got pulled off, I presume, because it became realized again that it was not actually borough, I don't know if owned is the correct one or borough controlled. So, so I had a couple of calls over that, and I just wanted to reopen up that door to go, what can we do, or is there an option that we can go down to get this dedicated? If it's alterations, what can be the case? Or if it's not something that can be approved to be part of the borough, can we come with a solution? I'm sure if we get a third party who can plow one street with 6 residents, it could be really affordable on certain times where maybe John or somebody designates like this would be a plow day and provide a service. I mean, these guys are paying for taxes after all. I know why they can't do that, but I mean, that HOA doesn't exist anymore.
It does exist. They are now the HOA. So whatever they were paying for being the HOA of, I guess it's the Morazzo's or the Bowling Green HOA, they should have still been collecting monthly fee and monitoring it themselves.
As far as I got, from my understanding from the 2 different residents, is that they weren't even aware that there was an HOA. So I'm assuming that fell apart since then. And I understand again, that being the precedent before, I'm just wondering, is this an avenue we could perhaps pursue and find a solution for?
That's something we'd have to look at with the engineer and John with regard to road standards and things like that. Those always become, we'd have to look at, with the engineer and with John later, road standards, it always becomes an issue with these private roads that they don't meet our standards, and it creates other problems, especially, if you're thinking about the issue of plowing and a turning radius and things like that. Because I'm familiar with the road. We've been dealing with this for a couple of years that, not knowing the size of it, and that's something you'd have to look at.
I just wanted to open up the door for looking into the possibility. I'm sure we could come up, even if dedicating it doesn't become a viable solution, can we come up with a good alternative plan to help these guys out?
Thank you. Go ahead, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. All right. So March is Social Work Month. So first of all, I want to thank all the social workers out there for what you do, especially Taylor downstairs. It was so great to see her on Friday. I was actually able to take a PTO day from my day job and actually spend it out in the community and then with Chief Ciampa as well. But Mike Italia hit on it earlier and talked about some older residents. And actually, Taylor and I had this conversation. I told her I was going to bring it up. What we're just noticing is a lot of elderly residents seem to be forgotten about family, friends, loved ones, and they're being left alone. So just let's keep our eyes out for our neighbors. If we're starting to see something like mail piling up or the grass not being cut or you haven't seen so-and-so for so long, feel free to, call for a wellness check, go knock on the door, make sure everyone's okay. Let's take care of one another, Morrisville. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
I have a comment that I'd like to make for discussion. Madam President?
Go ahead, Debbie.
Thank you. I just wanted to let people know that in January, I emailed Mr. Dillon and let him know that we were having a Parks and Rec meeting on that last Thursday of the month. I didn't get a response. We had the meeting. Everything went fine. It was great. February, I did the same thing. I let Mr. Dillon know that we were having the meeting, that we wanted to have the meeting on the fourth Tuesday of each month. He didn't respond. It was fine. Figured that we were going to show up for the meeting. When we got here for the meeting, there was a sign posted on the door saying that the Parks and Rec Committee was not an authorized committee and was not unauthorized to utilize Borough Hall. What I don't understand is why didn't I had there was over a week for Mr. Dillon or someone to advise that the Borough Hall would not be available to use for this group. This group has been meeting for years and years and years. I really don't understand. I think this is petty and divisive, and you're saying that there is this animosity. This is what it's coming from. I don't understand why a group that has been meeting for years, that is interested, it is a committee of people in the borough who is interested in parks and recreation. Why can't we continue to meet? If the Borough Hall is available, this is an action that is just a petty. The other thing I just don't understand why we can't do it. But I also want to point out that we talked about porta potty last month. I did talk with the porta potty company that has done business with the borough in the past. The cost for porta potties, if you did a seasonal rental, would be $159 a month. That's not very much money that we could do for a few months in the park to provide people with the ability to go to the bathroom between 4 and 8 o'clock when they are going to be down there. We have a park that is available. It is not an ideal solution. I understand that. But because we have no other bathroom available, if we have this 40-acre park and we don't provide any bathroom for somebody between 4 and 8, I think that's sad. Additionally, if the borough would be the be the person ordering a porta potty for a day event, that group could get a much lower and better price. They would not quote a price, but they would definitely give preference to the individual. Lastly, I just would like to, on financials, I don't understand. Could we please, on the financial statements, get the escrow balances that could demonstrate, show to us where money is being escrowed so we understand that those, say, zoning board things would be, bills will be reimbursed. Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe we can deal with the communication issue, but the reason that, obviously it's a committee that's been meeting, it is residents. However, Borough Hall is not a public use building from a standpoint of anyone can just come in here and meet. We can't limit, if we let anyone meet there, we have to let everyone meet here. And that would require an actual policy and development if you would want to do that, but just know that no one can just walk in here and hold a meeting. So that was the reason. It's just the fact that either no one or it's everyone. And right now the borough's policy is no one other than, Borough Council, Planning Commission, Zoning Hearing Board, those entities.
Okay, and that's a new decision because this group has been a resident committee for years and it's been meeting here. So why would we wait until the day of the meeting and put a note on the door to tell the people that were standing here, you can't meet here. That wasn't appropriate, and I don't understand. This group has been meeting for years, and if we were able to have a meeting with, say, the engineer to relay what our residents are telling us, Scott, we might be able, that's how we would be able to tell him, but we're not allowed to talk to him. Only the borough manager is allowed to talk to him, or perhaps selected people. But I have no mechanism to relay to the engineer what our residents have been asking for years.
You can relay it through the manager. You can go to the council president. I mean,
I tried. Oh, so the council president can talk to the engineer?
you can go to the council president. He'll take it to the manager.
Doesn't he have an email? We can email him? And a phone number?
Answers. Nobody answers emails. Here's the email.
You have my email. And number two, I do respond to my emails. I'm not aware of any other municipality that has committees. A comparable municipality got rid of their committees 45 years ago. You have a committee of the whole, which is your elected officials, and you discuss the issues and act on it as a committee of the whole. Having a park and rec committee, a police committee, a street and highway committee, they went out many years ago. I'm not aware of anybody in Bucks County that has such a committee. So I just want to throw that out there because I've been getting beat up a little bit at the moment. So.
And
I think this borough is getting a lot done in the last year and a half, 2 years here.
it has been getting a lot done, and lately there's been a lot of roadblocks put in to prevent Mr. Dillon from doing his job. Mr. Dillon, can you assure the public that we are financially solvent?
Yes, and we have outside certified public accountants that do the audits, not sending our financial records to an email address, and God only knows where it's going to be dispersed and who's going to be making interpretations. You have a certified public accountant firm that does your audits, and you're in excellent financial shape.
And regarding porta potties, and John later will attest to this, and I can attest to this, PICO had porta potties sitting down on the Cloverleaf property while they were doing work, and I saw that porta potty turned over maybe 3 or 4 times. What happens when that porta potty gets damaged? It then becomes the borough responsibility. John later, I don't want to put you on the spot either, but I do believe that you mentioned you did not want porta potties down at Colvin's Ferry Park because of that kind of issue, because of vandalism, because it's out of the way.
So I did say something like that, but I also said, whatever council wants. If
right, I
council
agree,
wants
yes.
it, we'll put them down. If you tell me to put 10 down there, I'll put 10 down there.
Correct.
Yeah, they do have an issue of knocking them over. That is true, so.
And whose responsibility does it become if it knocks over? Did the company come and take care of it?
No, we do. Our
Okay,
public
but
works
do they
department
come and clean every week?
Yeah, they're supposed to clean every
They're
week.
supposed to come-
Yeah,
Right, no one was asking for a porta potty at Colvin's Ferry for the season, absolutely not. But for the Earth Day event, she does need to get a porta potty for a day. It's going to cost her a lot of money. She could get it through if the borough ordered it. She could have it for the day, and it would be fine. But John, do you have a solution for people who need to go to the bathroom between 4 and 8 in Williamson Park?
baseball is down there during that time. The bathrooms usually are
Every
open
night,
by then.
every evening?
Yeah, during the summertime. Yes, for the most part, they are down there. So,
But not always.
Thank you, dear.
no, not always.
Thank you, John. All right, motion adjourned.
Jacob, there you go.